I went to the cabin yesterday and got all of my tools and supplies and parts. And today we're going to experiment with installing the rivnuts and put a couple of the panels up. I have my Havelock wool insulation. I brought some of that with me also so that I can do these small panels. And let's see how this goes. I'm really excited to show you what we're working with. The first thing that I'm going to work on today is marking the locations for the rivnuts in the door panels and wall panels, or at least some of them. But I'm going to do a couple of these easy panels so that I can get used to the process and just get a feel for how they're going together. Plus, it will get some of the stuff up off the floor. The first one that we're going to work with, because it's the easiest to get to, is the sliding door overhead. And let me just show you what we've got here. So this is a really cool piece. This goes over the top of the window, and you see that it has this piece attached to it with the lines in it. You know, I didn't really know if I wanted this originally, but now I'm really glad that I have it because it's the coolest thing ever. So it goes on the wall like that, around the door like that. This is a hanging rack, all made of bamboo, and it's actually got a magnet on that, and then there's a magnet embedded in the back of it which keeps it snapped in place. This is the coolest thing I have ever seen. It's the simplest thing, but it's the coolest thing. And you can see there are 4 mounting holes there. There's one there and one there. So I need to mark those locations, and those are on the door here. So we've got these existing holes, which I will be opening up and putting in rivnuts into, and then that's how it holds itself onto the wall. So I have a stepping bit to open those up, and then I will get my rivnut tool, and I'll do some of this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here we are. I've got my rivnuts in place. Now that I know what I'm doing, after the first couple, it got easier once I figured out the tool and how I needed to get these in place and how the tool behaves for that matter. So now I'm going to test fit this. I'll just put it up in place with a couple of screws, make sure it looks good, and then I will put the insulation in behind it and secure it down. Here we are with a test fit. Is that a beautiful thing or what? And these just pop down so you can hang stuff on them. That's just, it's an amazing thing. All that to go. Pretty great though, right? I'm gonna go get my insulation, stuff the cavity with the wool, and get this thing screwed up, and this part is done. I've accomplished something. Okay, I have the top section insulated. This is the wool insulation. Just cut it up into pieces and pull it apart so that it fluffs up, because the air gap is part of what you want. So I've got it all up in the channel here, all in this channel below and on the sides. And I have tape that I could put across to hold it in place. I don't need it on this panel, but I have it for other ones. Instead, I can just put the door panel over the top of this and it'll hold it in place. But it looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna grab my screws and my screwdriver and get the panel up. So with these panels, you want to get them in finger tight first so that you can make sure all the holes line up before you tighten it down. So this one, for instance, I need to push the panel up a little bit so I can get it in. So if I had tightened these down, that would have been out of alignment, and then I would have to undo it all. So get them finger tight first so that you can move things slightly, and then tighten them all down at the same time. That might be the wrong screw. Now that I look at that, I think that needs to be flush. So I bet I have one that will go in there. So I'm gonna button this piece up and call it good. And then I'll plan what I'm gonna do for the next installation. I've got plenty of these individual panels that I can put up and get used to installing. I've got some over the back doors there. So this part right here that I'm pointing at is just a flat cover. There's an inset that goes in that I have to figure out how I'm going to attach that. But I've got these panels up here that I can work with. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I can do without getting into the walls. I can do the bottom door panel here also. There's a lot that I can get done and get used to assembling this so that when it gets to the good stuff, like the ceiling, I don't screw it up. I've been busy. I came out last night and did some more rivnuts, and I just got through insulating this upper portion here, and then I have the panels to cover it, and then I have that door there to do. The ones down here, I have to actually drill the holes in the panels for these, so these are going to be a little more involved. But overall, it's going together pretty easy. The wool, the insulation, is easy to work with. You tear it up and you put it in the little nooks and crannies like they talk about. And then, this piece here, after I expanded it and tore it apart, it just kind of holds itself in place. So I don't have to tape it or anything. I can just put the panel right over it. So I'm going to continue doing that. Maybe I'll tackle some of the walls just to see what order I'm going to do these in. I'll probably need to review the installation instructions also. All right, some time has passed. I really haven't been recording very much of this process, just because I've been concentrating on making sure that I get some of the stuff figured out and making sure that I have everything. But I'm working on the panels and installing the rivnuts and stuff like that. So far, so good. I'm putting things in place so that I can see how it goes together. I have the wall panels. I'm just trying to get things up and off of the floor. I'd like to get the bed panels or the bed rails up and put the bed up so that it's up off the floor and I can use the space underneath. But because I could put the cabinets underneath. There's the cabinets there standing up, and I haven't done a whole lot more. There's just a lot of prep to do. I had to remove the door stops and stuff. I'll have to drill through the panel to reinstall it. This frame goes through like that, and the magnetic door stop outside attaches to this so that if you swing the door open, it doesn't bend the sheet metal or anything. It gives it something solid to hang on to. The lights just went off again. And I can't seal up all of the walls yet because I need to run my wiring. I've done some insulation. I've insulated the doors up here, and you can see the insulation down here, and then I'll fill this in when I'm ready to put this panel on. I have to actually drill the holes through the panel for this one, so I haven't gotten to this one yet. Same thing with that side. A lot of these are pre-drilled, so you can see on the panel here, they've drilled through on the template for the panel itself, and then behind it is where the factory mounting holes are, and then you drill those out and you put a rivnut in it, which holds it all together. So I'm going to keep working on this. It's New Year's Eve now, and my daughter and I are doing an end of the year, beginning of the year 5K. So you finish the year with a 5K starting at 10:30 at night, and then you start the new year with a 5K at like 12:30. And so that'll be fun. It's supposed to rain. We're hoping it doesn't, because that won't be fun. But I'll feel like I accomplished something. I'll get that's 6.2 miles for 2 5Ks. So we'll bring in the new year like that. I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon. I'm gonna get cleaned up here and maybe have a bite to eat. It's the next day and it's the next year. Welcome to 2022. Happy New Year. I'm cleaning up a little bit, making some sense of everything in here. Now that I have a good feel for how it all goes together and how I'm gonna do it. So I've been putting in rivnuts and getting things ready, identifying all of the panels. There's a couple of panels that seem to be missing, but the guys at Zen Vans are on top of that. And, everything kind of looks good. I've been putting things in place just to see how they all go together, and I'm pretty happy with how easy it all is, really. I need to make some penetrations in the sidewall here, like I was talking about. So I have to go on the other side, mark this panel so that I can do a hole cut to let the brace go through. Same thing on the other side. In the meantime, I broke my rivnut gun. I have one that's the big one, super easy, but it also requires a lot of space. And then I have another one like this. So what I was doing was I was cranking down the rivnut with the big one and then using this to finish it off since I didn't have the room. And I broke this one. It was a Harbor Freight cheap one. I was hoping that I could just get through the van with it and it would be disposable. Didn't work. I did get a decent number of these done, but it's broken. So I ordered another one, a better one. And so if I do any rivnuts, I'll just make sure that I do the ones that I have room to use that one with, and then I'll finish off the rest of them later. But I've got plenty to do. I've been moving things outside the van so that I have some room to work in here. Got a little pile of stuff. So yeah, things are coming along, and I'll show you how things progress. It occurs to me as I'm doing this and assembling it and putting in all of the rivnuts and getting things ready, I'm developing a real appreciation for guys like Zen Vans or Humble Road or any of the other groups that actually build and create kits like this, especially when you compare it to some of the shitty work that you see on YouTube, the home built stuff. I really have a new appreciation for just how detailed this work really is. I'm thankful that I stumbled across them, Zen Vans that is, and I talked to them. I initially started talking to them over a year ago before I bought the Rialta, as I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And at that point, I decided to try the Rialta first to work on some projects and get some hands-on time with some of the systems that I wanted to work with. And then when I sold it, I reached back out to Zen Vans and said, I think I'm ready. And I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I found them. But man, there's a lot of work involved in this.